What's up, guys? Mr. Dan here. Welcome back to another Martial Arts Monday review. This week's going to be a quick one as I've just got back from vacation. But I did watch something before I left on YouTube, free on YouTube, on the Shout YouTube channel, which is really, they do show some really good stuff there. They've got some good marathons of Mystery Science Theater and martial arts movies. This is 1973's Beach of the War Gods, directed by and starring the legendary Wang. Now, this was a Golden Harvest movie, and, you know, I'm watching it thinking, man, this thing looks great. I bet the physical release looks awesome. And it occurred to me where I thought maybe that it was from the early 80s. It was actually from 73. You know, Wang Yu has his face covered up a little bit, and he looks a little more grizzled than he did in his Shaw Brothers days already. And this is, but then I read about it, 1973. Wow, that's pretty early in his career still. And it occurred to me, like, who else but this guy, Wang had major roles in Shaw Brothers and Golden Harvest and independent films. I almost can't think of anybody off the top of my head, but wow, this was really good. This was a lot of fun. It's just a fun movie to watch. It's an hour and 40 minutes. It's essentially a retelling of The Seven Samurai, or The Magnificent Seven, if you will. And Wang Yu plays a sort of wandering fighter, resistance fighter, who arrives in this sort of beachfront town and organizes the local populace to resist the Japanese invasion as they're, you know, I don't know if it's not clear to me whether they were like pirates or actually official Imperial Navy from Japan, but they're basically just taking over this part of China. You know, they're establishing beachheads, and Wang Yu's father, I believe, is a resistance fighter who they've captured. So the beginning part, the first 30 minutes or so, there's some good clashes, and we get to know some of the characters. Just like in The Magnificent Seven, he kind of wanders through the town and meets different eccentric characters and recruits them. And it has a real kind of spaghetti western feel. You know, a lot of the characters are wearing hats over their eyes, and, you know, they're kind of eyeing each other up, and you don't know who's who at first. And some of the local villagers / fishermen are, you know, they're trying to resist the Japanese, but the only one that really has any guts is this one villager who's about as skinny as a toothpick. He's the only one that'll actually, like, backtalk them. And, you know, it's an hour and 40 minutes. The last half of the movie is like a battle sequence. It just goes, it's a long battle sequence. So the villagers don't really come back for any sort of lines or story arc. It would have been nice if the skinny guy came back a little bit at the end for some kind of to be woven into the story a little more. But anyway, the guys he recruits he sees a guy selling swords, a guy named Iron Bull, big burly guy. Some local thugs try to extort him, so together they beat the crap out of the local thugs. So he recruits him. Easy recruit for that guy. The next guy, Wang Yu gets into a scuffle with some Japanese people. And let me just say this. There's a shortened form of the word Japanese, which is a slur, okay? A 3-letter word. They use that a lot in this movie. They are the bad guys in this movie. So I just want to warn you about that, because it you know, it's obviously frowned upon, but in these movies you do hear it, and you hear it probably more in this movie than in a lot of movies. So anyway, Wang Yu's about to throw down with some Japanese guys in the saloon, but they spill alcohol on a mysterious stranger, and he takes off his cloak, and he's got like a vest full of knives. So he's like throwing knives, you know, he's taking them out like left and right. He may have been inspiration for many throwing knife characters, like Danny Trejo's character in Desperado. I don't really know. So obviously, Wang Yu's character tries to recruit him. He says, well, I usually only fight for money. So he kind of disappears, but he does come back, okay? So he has a pretty good arc. Then Wang Yu comes upon these two guys that are fighting themselves. One guy has 2 shields, which are differently shaped than usual, and the other guy has 2 like iron maces, and they're battling it out. So he says, "What are you guys fighting for? We've got an impending invasion on our hand. You know, you need to be on our side." So they bury the hatchet and they join him. And then there's a couple other guys, and then there's like an army of villagers that they give training to. And essentially that's the story. And then the Japanese eventually make a land on the beach, and there's some really good nighttime scenes on the beach because they've prepared like an ambush with some booby traps and things on the beach. Imagine this, you're going down a dark beach and you see some torches in the distance. You don't know if there's people behind it or anything, and you have to send some scouts out to see what's going on, and they set off a booby trap, and it happens again and again, very entertaining scenes. Finally, the Japanese admiral, played by Lei Feng, who's been in other movies with Wang Yu, just says, well, we got to wait till morning. I mean, they're just getting picked off. So they wait till daylight, and then they advance, and they sort of get drawn into, off of the beach, into the village, which is like a main street. Very cool set. Looks like an old-time village. And they get ambushed there. At one point, they have like liquid thrown on them. I thought they were going to be set on fire, but I guess it's just like oil or something. I don't know. But it occurred to me that if Wang Yu's forces had archers, they could have taken him out pretty easily. But there's no archery in the film at all. Neither side has it. It's just, so that's out of the equation. So anyway, there's a series of battles. Wang Yu and his bunch give them what for, and Hashimoto isn't there yet. He stayed back. Well, eventually he comes up. And you know how in the Star Trek series, the joke is if there was a crewman with a red shirt that you never saw before and they went down to the planet and he was going to die in like 5 minutes. Well, in this film, the red shirts it's the opposite. The red shirts are the badasses. So Hashimoto shows up himself with 5 or 6 guys in red shirts. And they just cut through these fishermen. They're just cutting through them like crazy. So they have to sort of eventually pair up with some of our main cast members. And it's just one long epic battle. And as you can guess, some of them make it and some of them don't. The guy with the shields, I mean, to see this guy using the shields as an offensive weapon is pretty cool. Something different. Some of the effects are pretty good. Most of the effects are pretty good. Some of them are a little quaint. There's one scene where someone gets a spear thrown at him, and it hits him and it picks him up off his feet and carries him about 25 yards into a building where he gets impaled. It's pretty entertaining, but pretty wild. You know, really good weapons. One of the red shirt guys has like a scythe on a chain. He's really hard to beat. And you know, like I said, not all of our heroes make it, but it gets to the point where both sides take heavy losses. And you know how throughout history people have said, hey, wouldn't it be great if the generals just fought each other, right? It wouldn't be as much bloodshed, you know? Well, guess what they do at the end? Guess what Wang Yu and this other guy does at the end? Okay. Great scene. There's a windmill involved in it, a working windmill that they're fighting in and on and around, which is pretty wild. I was like a nice windmill in the sets in films. But yeah, just a highly entertaining movie. You know, turn your brain off, watch it. It's essentially, like I said, a reworking of The Magnificent Seven / Seven Samurai, condensed into an hour and 40 minutes, with more than half of the film being battle sequences. So check out Beach of the War Gods on YouTube. And just special announcement, I do have a package coming in. So next Martial Arts Monday might be a little bit different. I might be showing off an item or some items that actually have to do with the movie that I reviewed last Monday. I'm very excited. I bid on these on YouTube, and I got the winning bid. So the price was quite low, I think, for what I'm getting. So I'm excited to show that next week. Come back again for more Martial Arts Monday reviews, and I'll check you guys out next time. Thanks.